Hollywood, a name usually associated with glamour and fanfare. A name that once upon a time brought smiles to audiences' faces with its stories that wowed people of all nations, customs, and traditions. These days, though, you're lucky if even one half-decent movie comes out of its corporalist offices. Controlled by Satanists and wealthy investors, Hollywood has become the stuff of nightmares. Or maybe it always was. Hello everyone and welcome back to Patriot Productions. I'm your host, The Patriot, and today we're going to be comparing two movies that have come out over the past month that I had the pleasure and displeasure of watching. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button as it truly helps the channel. Now, on with the video. A week or so ago, I had the opportunity to watch The Sound of Freedom, starring Jim Caviezel, which was based off of the real-life events of former Special Agent Tim Ballard as he exposed a large child trafficking ring in Colombia. The movie is by far the best film I've seen come out of theaters this year, and even managed to make me tear up several times, which is practically impossible for a normal movie to do. However, yet, this was no normal film, and I think the effect it's had on waking people to the evils that are committed in this world are astounding. The second movie I mentioned seeing was the Barbie movie. However, I did not see it in theaters. Normally, I do not condone piracy of any kind. However, after reading the reviews that came out after said movie was released, there was no way Warner Brothers would get a cent out of me. So, when one of my friends found a pirated copy of the Barbie movie on a Discord server while we were having lunch at a coffee shop after church, we ended up all agreeing to go over to his house and watch it so that we could all rip on it and critique it to our heart's content. The Critical Drinker, a channel on YouTube known for giving hilarious and fairly anti-partisan movie reviews, said, and I quote, "Barbie is like the deformed, mutated rage child of Captain Marvel, Ghostbusters 2016, and She-Hulk, and that it is pure brain cancer in movie form." By the time me and my friends finished watching said movie, we couldn't agree more with that statement. Both movies, though, while completely different in every way, shape, and form, have one thing in common, that being they both benefited from the implosion that was Indiana Jones 5. With Indy's flop, Twitter promoting Sound of Freedom everywhere, and Warner Brothers having an astounding marketing department that fooled literally everyone, we have arrived in today's world where the likes of Barbie and The Sound of Freedom are both hailed and hated for an insurmountable amount of reasons. So, what's my official take on all this, you might wonder? And what does it mean for Hollywood in the future? So, short story, Hollywood is completely collapsing. You have the likes of Marvel just continuing to push out more crap. You have Star Wars doing the exact same thing. They're basically destroying these like legacy brands. They have lost all of their moral values within their own shows. And not only that, but they're all on strike right now. The writers went on strike, and then the actors went on strike. And I believe it was the original reason was they were afraid that the AI was going to replace the scriptwriters. And then the actors just jumped on board, seeing an opportunity to try and make even more money than they normally do. Which is, of course, ridiculous. They already make like millions upon millions of dollars per film. But I personally would be fine with the AI freaking replacing their jobs because maybe they'd do a better job. Because movies these days, they're terrible. And I think they actually, they're a direct reflection of Hollywood itself. The movies that we have of today, like Barbie, they've completely lost their moral values. They've lost their light, their soul, their sense of adventure, their original storytelling. Every movie's either crap or it's like a movie 3 or 5 or 6 or whatever, like just another repeat of the same things. There's nothing original anymore because Hollywood itself has become like that. They've lost all of their own moral values. They're completely degenerate, and obviously that's nothing new. That's been going on for a long time. However, as time goes on, it's really just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And so it's like a slow moving like train crash. Like we're seeing it happen real time, but it's like being just played in slow motion for us. So we're just seeing the inevitable end of it all as these movies just continue to flop. Barbie was an exception, with Indiana Jones' 5 being so disastrous. Barbie managed to make quite a decent amount of money. Like they passed 300 million, I believe, already in sales, and I mean that's fairly impressive. But you have to take a look at their marketing department. I remember when the first Barbie trailer came out, my sister asked me if I wanted to go see it with her, and I was like, you know what? I'll go see it with you. Like, it sounds like a fun little, kind of like cute movie. Like, we can go both watch it together, have some quality time or whatever. And then the reviews came out after like the official release, and I'm like just reading all this, and I'm like, this is absolute crap. Like, this is the most, like, everybody was calling it like the most anti-man movie they'd ever seen, and I have to agree. Every single character within the movie that was of the stronger gender, literally, was basically treated as either bigoted or just retarded. Like, Ken was most definitely the best part of the movie, but he was ridiculous. He didn't know who he was. He was so desperate for attention from Barbie that when he finally discovered masculinity and the patriarchy, he went overboard with it. And so while it was hilarious, like, their little revolution that they had, all the Kens, it didn't even last. They kind of just gave up, and then they went back to being treated like second-class citizens, so nothing really changed. And then Barbie goes to live in the real world. Like, the story was all over the place. It had no soul, and it was completely just perverted. It was so just vulgar and upfront with all of its jokes. Like, I remember back when I was younger, DreamWorks used to be the king of this, where they would sneak adult jokes into their animated films. Like, you can go watch Shrek or Madagascar or any of those older films, and the amount of jokes that they just snuck in there that went over kids' heads, I mean, it's hilarious. Like, you're like, how is this for kids? But, like, that's the point, is it's supposed to entertain the adults at the same time, but they're done in such a tactful way, the jokes, that they just go over the kids' heads. Like, it's not like perverted or anything like that. With Barbie, it was the exact opposite. They basically, like, they just shoved it anywhere and everywhere, like just like their terms and the way they spoke, like the jokes they made, everything was just so vulgar and so disgusting and like just nasty. It really was. And you can kind of compare it almost to the likes of the Lego Movie in terms of its expectations. When the Lego Movie came out, the first one back in like 2014, it was all families with kids going to go and watch it because it's a movie based off of toys, Legos. And so everybody was like all bringing their kids for it. I went and saw it with my whole family. Like, we loved it. It was a great movie. And there were adult jokes in it too, but they were, once again, they were extremely subtle. And those were done by Warner Brothers. It was the same company. Barbie, it was the same kind of idea. Like, it's a movie based off toys that little girls play with. Like, you're gonna have families with little girls coming in to watch this movie. And it wasn't the lighthearted movie that anybody expected it to be. And so that's why it made as much money as it did. And the people who were then told afterward by the first wave of people who saw it that, oh, it was bad, like, nobody believed them because of how genius the friggin' marketing department was at Warner Brothers. And so you have Sound of Freedom, the exact opposite of the Barbie movie. Just kind of like, it was literally the exact opposite concept, and Hollywood absolutely despised it. It was made literally 5 years ago, and they shut it down. They made sure that it wasn't put out, but it finally was when it was bought up by Angel Studios, who ended up officially releasing it. They really did everything in their power to stop it, and that really says something, I think. If you compare the two, how they're promoting Barbie as this like kind of like feminist, like enlightening movie about girl power and stuff and how amazing it is, and then they're calling Sound of Freedom like QAnon conspiracy theorist. I've been being called a QAnon conspiracy theorist for 5 years now. I still don't know what QAnon is. Like, please, someone tell me what is QAnon. Like, I genuinely don't know. They say QAnon and alt-right or far-right wing, and like, that's all I know about QAnon. It's alt-right or whatever. I'm like, what? Like, I'm just confused. Like, why? But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. It literally just proves the point. Like, they're calling a movie that is literally, that shouldn't be anti-partisan in any way, shape, or form. Like, this movie, everybody should be going and seeing. If I can tell your politics because of how you like this movie, that is extremely concerning to me as like a society in whole. The fact that I can tell your political beliefs based on how you like this movie or not. how conservatives have been completely championing this movie, calling all this stuff out, saying like action needs to be taken, we need to like freaking like mess up these child traffickers and all that. And meanwhile, liberal media is just saying that we're all conspiracy theorists and that the movie is alt-right based and fuels ego or whatever. I don't even know anymore. So it really is concerning how this all ended up happening. That's kind of my whole take on the whole thing. I believe Hollywood will eventually collapse. Barbie, I really do believe at the end of the day it was a fluke. It was genius marketing combined with Indy's flop, and so that's kind of how we are in this situation. I warn anybody, if you got kids planning to take them to go see Barbie, I would highly recommend not doing so. The movie is, as I've said a million times at this point, extremely vulgar and disgusting, and it will turn your little children into feminist, like communists. Like, yeah, that was literally like the child of like one of the main characters was like a communist. She called Barbie a fascist at one point. That was definitely an interesting take, I suppose. So, yeah, that's basically all I got. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts and comments in the comment section. If you haven't already, as I said before at the beginning of the video, please leave a like, maybe subscribe, and yeah, I'll see all you guys next week. Adios!